that it has to be this pick that gets you that point guard. That you need a third. You need a third superstar if we can get him. And the guy that has the most potential to be a superstar out of these players is Josh Jackson. And he's not the best fit. He hopefully will become a better shooter. He shot 43%, I believe, for the second half of the college season when he started playing in the Big 12 conference games. He was only 34% in the beginning, so he improved throughout that season. Like Josh said, he's 19 years old. He just turned 19. And he's got an elite skill set on defense. He actually is a really good ball handler. He gets to the basket. He's got a quick first step. He's 6'8". He can guard the 1 through 4 positions. And while it's not ideal, I would have loved Markelle Fultz. He's the best player you can get at 3, whereas De'Aaron Fox, you're forcing a fit that's not a good fit because he cannot shoot the ball even a little bit. He's the worst shooter in this draft that you're going to get in the lottery. He weighs 170 pounds soaking wet. And to me, at the very, very, very best, he's Rajon Rondo, who was a very good player in Boston. Total wrong fit with Ben Simmons. Ben and Rondo at his peak would never have worked together. And that's what you need. You need another guy that will work with Ben.
I look at De'Aaron Fox differently because I think he's a much better scorer than Rondo at college. You know, like he put up 39 in the tournament. The guy
Rondo was really good at Kentucky.
Well, but Rondo is not a scorer at all.
At Kentucky, he was.
He's a 9-point scorer.
I gotta pull it up.
But the thing is, De'Aaron Fox is great. He reminds me a little bit of Derrick Rose because Rose is not a good shooter either, but Rose can get anywhere on the floor that you need. And one thing,
Rose was bigger.
The biggest nightmare you can have is relying on Ben Simmons to stay healthy. And I'm really nervous about Ben Simmons being a point guard because if Ben goes down and you have Malik Monk or Josh Jackson, you are going to have an awful product.
How about Lowry?
Kyle Lowry,
or the guy that we signed the year after that, or the guy that we drafted in 2019 with the Kings pick.
If you don't overpay Kyle Lowry, I don't think Kyle Lowry is going to be that successful with Ben either. He's kind of aging. I'm not a huge fan of his size, and I just think Kyle benefited from a soft Eastern Conference, and he pretty much outworks everybody like C.J. McCollum. I mean, Lowry doesn't blow you away with his measurables either. I'm not a huge Kyle Lowry fan.
Dude, he averaged like 25, 7, and 6 this year.
I think
he's old.
He's
an old guy.
Let's stay on Kyle Lowry for a moment. He's a guy who's probably 6 foot, maybe below 6 feet. He's a small guy.
But he's a beast. He's a bulldog.
No, but listen. But the fact is, guys of that size, in my opinion, number one, he's going to want a big deal. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's going to want a big deal.
4 for 140 is what he's going to get.
Okay.
If he leaves,
so here's the point. Here's the point. Number one, I don't like his size. I don't like his age. I think when guys of that size stop being good, they go down in a hurry. Now, there are not that many guys, like for instance, Isaiah Thomas, a young guy. But how many guys of that size, 5'10", can you think about? There's not a big sample size.
I don't think Kyle's 5'10", though.
5'11". He's small.
He's about 6 foot.
So, okay, we'll say he's 6 foot.
Really strong.
Okay.
Well, can Kyle play off the ball? Because that's what you're asking him to do.
But the point is, the question is, this is what I want to say. Number one, how old is he? You can look it up.
32.
He might be.
No. He's not there.
Kyle Lowry.
Look at
he's 30. Yeah, you might be turning 32 this next season.
So 32. So when you get a guy who's 32, who's 6 foot tall. In my opinion, I don't know when his game's going to fall off. But when it falls off, it's not going to fall off linearly. He's going to fall off a cliff, and that's one factor. Has this ownership team? They're talking a good game. In other words, are they going to step up to the plate? And this year coming up, are they going to spend money for Kyle Lowry? You're saying 140.
He just turned 31, by the way.
Okay, 140 million. Is that what you're saying?
4 for 140 is the max deal he can
get. So the question is, I don't see. I'm cynical. I don't see this owner. Maybe it's just because I saw. I don't know if you saw the 30 for 30 on the guy John Spano, who was the. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that was incredible.
I know that's totally a different sport.
The Islanders thing.
Yeah, I'm not comparing. But by the way, that was one of my favorite ones.
That's so weird. I can't believe that happened.
But was that great though? Yeah. Okay, we won't go into that. But I'm not saying. No, the guy had no money. He kept on giving checks. He was supposed to give like $21 million, and he gave like $2,100. For all of you guys, 30 for 30 is great. Watch the thing on John Spano, and that's just an aside. I'm not saying that this ownership group doesn't have a lot of money, and they really do. But when is the time? When have they stepped up to pay money for a free agent.
For a top 100 guy.
Well,
Yeah,
when did they do
in
that?
any
Guys.
of their sports, in
Okay,
soccer,
so
and hockey.
maybe they will. Maybe they will. Is Kyle Lowry
was a
the guy?
reason.
Or is Kyle Lowry the guy they're gonna? Do they love Kyle Lowry?
Let me explain something.
Talk.
So,
It's your
forget about
fault.
Lowry for 1 second, because I get it. There's going to be differing opinion. He's older. By the time his contract's over, he won't be good anymore. I get all that. By the time we're ready to beat LeBron and take over the East, okay? But he helps bridge that gap and get you to the next level. With that said, right now, there's only a few free agents this year you can get. Lowry, Chris Paul, who's definitely not coming to Philadelphia, Blake Griffin, who doesn't fit in Philadelphia, Durant, who's not leaving, Steph, who's not leaving. So there's not really options there. And this year,
at point guard.
at any position.
In any position.
This year,
I like Redick and or Caldwell.
awesome. Redick's going to get $20 million a year, by the way, if you don't realize it already.
Really?
Yeah.
$20 million.
He's got. That's the. This is what you guys got to understand. And
crazy.
I'll explain it real quick, and then you take it over.
please. I'm just blown
The-
away that he get $20 million.
Here, you got to start thinking about it as a percentage of the cap rather than the number, because the numbers are going to blow you away. Like Mozgov got 17 a year, Deng got 17 a year, Joakim Noah got 18 million a year.
Evan Turner,
That's
83
yeah, that's what
million.
people are going to get these
You know, we've
days.
seen. I'm trying to I'm trying to repress the idea of Evan. All of those guys were overpaid,
Right.
And I don't see one of those guys who's worth the money they got.
No doubt.
Continue.
I think
No
Mike
doubt.
Conley.
No, let-
I think
Mike Conley's
let
awesome.
Perry-
Mike
let
Conley.
Perry
But
continue.
here's what I'm saying. This year and next year, the only 2 years we can sign free agents, because after that, you extend Ben Simmons, you'll already have extended Joel Embiid, and we will hit. Now, you can go over the salary cap to re-sign your own players with the Larry Bird rules, okay? You can do that with Joe, you can do it with Dario, you can do it with Ben. You can't bring in a free agent once you hit that cap limit. So we have 2 seasons to bring in free agents. That's it. This year and next year you look at the free agent class, it's like Russell Westbrook, not coming here. There's one guy, I'll think of it as you're talking, there's one guy next year we can go get, but this year, by far, the best free agent on the market that's a realistic option for us, with the fact that he's from Philly, with the fact that Colangelo brought him to Toronto, and that he's a fit because he's a ball handler but also can play shooting guard, Kyle Lowry. He is the perfect player for us.
You know what's
And I'll
interesting? I have to admit, when you create the whole landscape, like what you just gave us was a big picture.
Yes.
Redick, who I see is a bench player, is a good shooter, instant offense.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Steve Kerr a lot.
Absolutely.
Sure.
You know, certainly.
I love JJ. He was one of the best college players I've ever seen.
Yeah, but 20 million. In other words, if I look, Larry is what, 40 million? What
Lowry's going to get so a
35
guy
million.
of that age can get 30% of the cap. That's what it comes out to. So based on the cap's going to keep going up, but it's going to net out to 4 for 140. It'll start at like 32 million, then it goes to 34, 36, 38. It goes up throughout the contract.
I do have a question.
Yeah, let's talk about it. It's not very attractive. In other words, what you're portraying is not a lot of great options in free agency, a 2-year window, and Coach, is there anybody we're missing? Who
I
are we
think Drew
missing?
Holiday's not another option you got to look at. I would bring back Drew Holiday, and I think you're going to get him cheaper than Kyle Lowry. He might get $20 million over
I think
a
he
year.
gets more.
$20 million a year.
Didn't you hear the rumors that Nerlens is going to get offered the max
That was-
by multiple teams? Drew's going to these players because there's a limited stock of free agents and everybody has cap space because the cap just jumped a huge amount. It never happened like that before.
Which is ridiculous.
Everybody can offer max deals.
Drew
That's
Holiday-
why you see Evan Turner get the money he got and Derrick Rose on a bum knee got the money he got. Like that's why
I
it's
like
happening.
Drew. Let's stick with Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Spencer, I want your thoughts, and Coach.
That is
I
the
haven't-
other option.
I haven't
Drew
followed Drew lately, so I want your opinion, and I want you guys. I want to hear his body of work, and let's weigh Lowry versus Holiday. I'd like to have that discussion.
One thing,
Go right ahead.
One thing
Drew's
that
like
the
27.
Sixers need is they need a starter that can stretch the floor. So if we're going to pick Josh Jackson, we're still not good at shooting the basketball. We're still not good at spreading out defenses. You look at JJ Redick, and JJ Redick, he's unbelievable at running around, coming off screens, catching and shooting. If you don't take Malik Monk, JJ Redick is almost that guy. And in terms of from a cerebral standpoint, JJ Redick has his own podcast.
So he must be smart, right?
Well, no. Here's the thing: JJ Redick is a guy who absolutely cares. He's been around the block. He knows what it's like to make the postseason. He knows what it's like to choke in the postseason for sure. But he
That's
also
good experience.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy who's played with one of the more intense guys in basketball. With Chris Paul. But what I was going to say is, I don't like Drew Holiday as much as I like guys that you could probably still poke around, you beat around the bush. Like I like D'Angelo Russell more. He'd fit perfectly because he's a shooter.
D'Angelo Russell's not.
Can't.
He just played his second year.
But look at Jordan Clarkson and Russell, Eric Bledsoe. The Suns might take a point guard and Bledsoe might fall. Drew Holiday is old, not a great shooter.
27.
Kyle Lowry blows him out of the water.
Lowry.
Drew Holiday is so average, mediocre, and he can't shoot the ball.
I agree with
So
that.
Kyle Lowry at least is a 3-point marksman. I'd go Redick and Kyle Lowry as the only two guys.
Let me make a point. You
Only
made a point
two
about
guys.
D'Angelo and the Lakers. If they bring Ball in, D'Angelo is expendable.
Yeah.
He's a young guy. He's not going to command a ton of
Clarkson and
money.
D'Angelo,
I know
yes.
he's got some character
Yes.
issues. Obviously, we all understand that.
That's so mind.
I don't think he's a great. I don't think he's a great player, but I know he's a point guard. Coach, we've thrown around a lot of names. Why don't you react to all this?
You know, I mean, you're big, Spencer. You're real high on D'Angelo Russell, and
I don't like him.
I don't like him at all. I think he's a lot. I think with a young locker room like this, okay, he doesn't blend well. You know, he's a child himself, and the actions that he calls out in LA were just a distraction. I know a couple of players out there. They're not high on D'Angelo. When you have something like that, you can say, okay, it was a minor mistake. You don't need that. It's like the locker room's like the mob. You know what goes on in there is.
I want to
stays
go
in there.
back and forth, but who is the lead? I mean, when you're hanging out with Nick Young, and
Doesn't
who's
matter.
been
You don't do that.
You don't do it.
You don't
Yeah,
do it.
it's
either.
one incident, but
Pretty big
we're
incident.
talking about a guy who has unbelievable vision, who absolutely is a combo guard. He doesn't need the ball in his hand, and he's a guy who can stroke the three.
Not
he
really.
gets up
I
and
don't think
down.
He shot a very good percentage.
He's one of the best outlet passers in the NBA. I mean, him and Ben Simmons, two lefties on the floor together. I'm taking him over Kyle Lowry by
Fine,
far.
but you're
By
acting like
far.
they're both free agents, and they're not. And if we're going to talk about a trade, which is a totally different discussion, because you can't use that money to trade, obviously. But you could do that if you sign a guy, because then you can use the contract to trade. But the perfect scenario is if the Trailblazers finally realize they're going nowhere with the backcourt combo of Lillard and McCollum. They're great players, just not together, because neither of them can play any defense at all, and they both need the ball. CJ McCollum is the absolute perfect fit. Him and Klay Thompson, but Klay's not going to leave Golden State. So if you could figure out how
You could get him. I agree.
If we could
That's a
trade-
home run. I'd be really excited.
If
about
we
the
could
talent.
trade-
He's a Lehigh guy. Listen, I went to
Yeah.
Lehigh. In the history of Lehigh,
He's
200
by far-
years,
yeah.
he's the only NBA player we ever had.
Let's talk
and
about
he's
what
a darn
we're,
good
let's
one.
talk, let's
So
talk
that
about
would be
what we're
good.
trading to.
If we, I think.
Well, what would we trade? We
I
have to
think-
trade him a first, one of the
Well, I
first
thought that
round picks.
Nerlens would have made sense because they needed defense. They ended up going with Joseph Nurkic. So, but if we offered number 3 and our pick next year and our pick in 19, since we still have picks, we still have the Lakers pick next
Say
year.
would it take
I think
three
it would
first
take
rounds?
that, and
That's
I'm still
pretty heavy.
and I still
That's
think
pretty heavy, isn't that, Josh?
Yeah, but I think
hate to give all that up.
I think that our picks. Do you think we make the playoffs? If you think we make the playoffs, our picks in 18 and 19 are going to be somewhere between 15 and 19, and we're going to own the Lakers and Kings pick, which will be lottery picks. That's why I'm saying.
More Sixers talk around the corner here on Rover Sports. Guys, stay right there. We will be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean what I mean when I say our